Hey, what's up, y'all? It's Chris, your sneaker professor, and as always, I'm really big on introducing you to new sneaker companies. I get so frustrated with sneaker media and sneaker culture dwelling on taking L's on Nike and all of this other stuff. I don't get into it, but I'm like, hey, there's some really great work that's taking place in sneakers that's being overlooked that people should talk about. But then I realize that most people don't really care about sneakers, they only care about cool. I love sneakers for the training aspect of them. And yeah, the casual aspect is cool. I'm actually wearing a pair of Kith Clarks right now. So it's not like I don't buy things that are cool. I like things that are cool. I love things that matter. So last week, in a discussion on if Allbirds stock drops to zero, I introduced this brand Antepes, right? And if you look over here to my side, you see the floating shoe. Antepes, and I'm going to scroll down so you guys can see the pronunciation and what the shoe is claiming to be for versus what I think the shoe should be advertising itself as. So the shoe isn't out yet. You can pre-order it. It's not an inexpensive shoe, but the shoe has a full-length carbon fiber plate. Any shoe that you see from any brand, Hoka, Nike, whatever they are, if it has a carbon fiber plate, the only brand where you get a shoe that's about $120 to $130 is 99 Products. 99 Products makes a shoe with a full-length carbon plate on the inside, and it's the only shoe on the market that's less than $200. So this shoe is ringing up, and I'm going to turn it around because the blue, you can see the details much better, and I'm going to move it up to the camera and stuff, but most of the pictures that you see on the site are extremely good. I'm going to explain because when I got these shoes, I got them early and I got the training manual with it. And I was like, they're selling these shoes, as a safer running shoe to teach you proper form with a positive 4-foot gain. I'm seeing this and immediately defaulting to, and I'm showing you this right here, right? The heel. And I'm going to be dropping video through here because I tried them on before I went to the grocery store. And then I walked around the grocery store for 45 minutes as I went shopping. And that was my first time wearing them at the time. This is my daughter's pair. She wore them at track practice yesterday. This is my pair. And I ran at track practice yesterday and worked out a little bit of it. Did some stair jumps and running up the stairs. The basketball coach in me, if I'm a basketball coach, football coach, volleyball coach, I know the price is steep. Do you guys remember Jumpsoles? You remember Jumpsoles? My basketball players would borrow each other's Jumpsoles. They were one size fits all, but you had to strap the shoes around your foot, and it was this big giant block. And then they later made the shoe so it had this big piece of plastic on it that lifted your feet up in the air. If you see the shape of this shoe, and when I drop these videos in while I'm talking, you'll be like, all right, yeah, I see it. And actually, I want to move this one up and show you a bunch of these small details, like the Antepes on the side, and then it has mountains and birds going around it. And then it has Antepes at the back. And this heel, I'm trying to remember what the different parts of it are called. Heel X. This is the heel counter, heel X. Maximum Achilles freedom and heel lock. Now, it's important to state that I got a 13.5. You can stay true to size. The person that runs the website, that owns the brand, thought that if you were going to really be working hard in the shoe, you needed to go a size up. Not a size up, but half a size up. You don't. It's true to size. The 13 would have fit me perfectly. I had a little bit of heel slip, and you'll see that when I drop the running video in here, where I'm coming around the curve of the track, and my foot is moving. But getting back to Jumpsoles, these are literally Jumpsoles that you can wear all day. Every time I put the shoes on, I immediately start doing calf raises. And this is important because the company has moved forward with changing a lot of the terminology on the site. And these are the guides that you're going to get. If you go to the website right now and sign up, you get this guide for free. I think you get the guide for free. I'm not even sure if they're doing that yet. I think all of this stuff, I'm way early. There's probably no other reviews on this anywhere else. But if you go to the site, I think you're supposed to get this guide. And it's a training guide for muscle running. And it tells you that you have to stretch and that you have the power of these planes, that you can move vertical, lateral, forwards, backwards. And then they have what's called a sport specific. So yeah, they're moving it towards being a training shoe. I think is one of the most genius things. So last week, when I was talking about Allbirds dropping to zero, I said that Allbirds is a company that launched without purpose. You can see the track dirt on the bottom of the shoes. But like I said, I went to the store. Allbirds launched a company with a wool shoe that didn't serve a purpose other than being a more sustainable wool shoe that looks like a Roshi run. Here's a company that's starting out, and this is important because I cover a lot of new shoe companies. And a lot of shoe companies get mad at me because I'm like, well, I'm not going to write about you because you're just adding into a market that's already there. You're not doing anything but making something with new materials, a different design. It serves no purpose. This company, in my opinion, would be perfectly set up to do like debenture shares or some type of Kickstarter launch that offered people shares in the company. Because if the person that designed this shoe decides to design a more casual or a different type of running shoe, they are going to enter the market in the same way that Hoka has and that On Running has. Both shoes with a proprietary technology, and I'm doing this air quote, not facetiously, a proprietary, basically, I think the shoe has patents on it. So you can't make a shoe like this because they have a patent on it. And I'm going to show you here where it says 4-strike on the side. They are entering the market with a product that does a job. I can't explain to you how important that is if you're launching a product. Right now, you can literally sit down and talk to somebody that's starting a clothing company. And all they're doing is making something with t-shirt designs on it. I'm pulling this out so you can see what the insole looks like in the back of it. But people are starting clothing companies. And it's just another clothing company. So when I look at a company like Unless, right? Unless Apparel. Unless makes clothing that you can actually put in the ground and it will disintegrate and biodegrade. Not disintegrate, but biodegrade and go back into the soil without harming the environment. That's the other insole from the left shoe. Now, the reason I bring up Unless, the reason I bring up Antepes in this way is because here are two companies, and I know I'm getting the track dirt on my shirt. Here are two companies that created with a purpose. If you are not solving a problem, there's almost no point for you to create what you're creating because you are going to have to depend on fashion, and fashion is fickle. And long term, if you're not serving some purpose and telling some story very well, how are you going to sell what it is that you're making? If this company did a fundraising round, it would be one of the best new shoe companies on the market. That's not an exaggeration. I use these things, I ran in them, I trained in them, and it builds explosion in your calf, which takes me back to Jumpsoles. If you remember Jumpsoles, they worked, but obviously a lot of people moved away from Jumpsoles because those things were dangerous, man. They were shifty, they moved, and you walked around with them. There were injuries that could happen. Now the same thing here, you have to get used to the feel of the shoe because it does feel a lot different because you're like immediately dorsiflex when you put the shoe on. It's made like a track spike. So your foot sits up as soon as you put it on. But man, I'm telling you, basketball players, if basketball players find this shoe and they add it to their workout routines, it works. It makes you stronger. And this is what's so critical about what they've done. A new product that's releasing to the public and it's providing a service. So you get this training guide, but then you see it's broken down into basketball, soccer, football, track and field. They have a manual. And it gives you 30 skills and drills. Now, you can find these skills and drills almost anywhere, but they do it and they explain dorsiflexion, train for sport. Using the shoes, they are complementary. You don't have to replace your Nikes or your Adidas or your Under Armour shoes. You don't have to replace those shoes with this and wear it casually. You perform your workouts in this shoe, not CrossFit. Running and plyometric workouts in this shoe, and they go through and they let you build your program. It's one of the best things that I've seen, and I know no one's heard of it, and I know you guys are like, dang, you're really excited about it. And that's because I'm thinking about my basketball players who I didn't allow to play AAU, and a lot of people was like, you a stupid coach. And I was like, no, I don't want my players to get hurt. Later, when they do go on to play in college, they'll have a good long career. I had my basketball players play volleyball or run track in the spring. Now, some of them snuck away and did AAU. I can't control them in that way when I was coaching. But had these shoes been around, I would have most definitely made sure some kind of way, I would have fundraised whatever I had to do to make sure they had these shoes. Why? Because when you do all of these drills, and it's 30 different drills, and then it's broken down by sport. So the wheel of sport is what they call it. And you do all of these for any sport. And then they have sport-specific drills. It's perfect. And it works. And you've been seeing the video throughout me talking. It's rare to see a product come to the market in the sneaker industry where it serves a purpose immediately. There's no way possible, and maybe Nike hasn't heard of them, maybe Under Armour hasn't heard of them. If I'm any of the bigger brands, I do not let this brand come out into the market. I immediately acquire it and push it. And that's wrong for me to say, but think about it like this. If this thing comes out and hoopers get a hold of it, hoopers are going to be that much more likely willing to try a new shoe from this company. It's complementary, it's supplementary. It's not meant to take over your wardrobe. It's meant to be utilized to train. And it works. It's literally a jump sole that you can perform in all aspects. But I wanted to do this video because I'm doing a series of videos this week that look at brands and the importance of doing something important when you create a product. It's becoming ridiculous, the amount of shoes that get released that don't do jack crap. They don't do anything. And this one does. And I think it's critical that we start expecting more out of the companies that are launching. We have enough brands already. If you're going to create something, solve a problem. And these Antepes, actually, I'm going to scroll all the way through this so you can see all of these drills. And I think this is a free pack. It's not like you have to do anything. You can go to the site and sign up, and supposedly they send it to you. Now, I got all of this stuff early, and I ain't being paid to say this or anything else. This is just basically testing. And I love testing shoes, and I don't do a lot of videos like this, but I'm going to have to start doing more videos like this because people just aren't taking the time to do it. It fits like a sock. I barely tied my shoe here. Like I said, this is my daughter's pair, and she did her entire track practice with these on yesterday. I do have to add caveats. If you have weak ankles, these are going to be difficult for you to work out in. If it's an older person with back problems or something like that, it does force you into walking with correct form and using correct form because it's forcing you to use a 4-foot strike. But you have to be careful if you don't have strong ankles already, or you only need to use them, I would say, and this is not on the website, for about 5 minutes a day until you can build up to longer times. But that's it. The company is Antepes. An amazing first shoe. Amazing. Haven't seen anything like this since Hoka. Phone's going off. Time for me to end this. I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.